Hey everyone, Tasha here. The question I'm going to answer today is just how to overcome objections, which is a pretty broad question. But today I want to make it really simple for you and help you to understand the concept of overcoming objections and what is an objection and what is not an objection. So if someone is like, I'm not interested, that is actually not an objection. That is I am not open to this. I do not want to have this conversation. And especially in network marketing, to try to plow through, I'm not interested, is going to be probably pretty tricky. So I'm not going to spend a lot of time on that one. I think that our goal is to build value in a way that more people are interested. They understand that the products that you are working with are solutions to their problems, which means you need to be problem focused, which is as opposed to product focused, which is a whole different issue. Now, an objection is something like when someone gives you the reasons that they cannot buy. And people will call this an objection. Growing up in sales for the past 22 years, I actually never learned it as an objection. I learned it as addressing concerns. And I think that this shift is really, really important because when someone says, I can't afford it, if you're looking at it as an objection, then it feels like we have to like beat them. And the way I learned this concept was we never want to play objection ping pong, where they like hit an objection and we hit a response back and they hit back. No matter what happens, someone's going to lose that conversation. It's usually by getting smashed, and it's not a great situation. So instead, what we want to do is we want to, instead of thinking about overcoming objections, we want to think addressing concerns. So when someone says, I can't afford it, instead of seeing it as like, this is an objection I need to overcome, we can look at it as a concern. Like, I like this, it doesn't fit into my budget right now. When we can understand that objections are actually buying signs as opposed to non-buying signs, I think it helps release our stress a little bit. And then the question is, well, but how do I respond? And there's a few different ways we want to go about it. Most overcoming objection training is reactive, or the way we think about it is reactive. So if they said this, how do I respond? I'm going to tell you the secret to less follow-up, higher closing percentage, and no more awkward conversations. And that is to handle objections. The best time to handle objections or concerns is before they come up. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to talk to you about two strategies to eliminate objections from the conversation, which is great for everybody. And then I'm going to walk you through the third way as far as like how to respond. So the first way to address objections is through structure, and this before they come up. And the second is testimonial. So everybody here has a different company. So I'm not going to walk through every single objection for every single company, but this is going to apply for both products and for the business. I'll give you a couple of examples of both. So what we want to do is we want to address things to structure. People do not buy when the value exceed, or the perceived value is lower than the cost, and or they simply do not have the resources in order to move forward. We need to figure out which one is which. And I was in coaching today and somebody said, well, it really bothers me when people say I can't afford it, but then they go and buy something else. I'm like, you can't afford it, what the heck? And what's happening here is that the value has not exceeded the cost. So from that perspective, they like just don't have a bunch of money laying around for nothing, for something that where the value is below the cost. But when they see something where the value is higher than the cost, then they have a little bit of budget for that. So everybody has different values. And so we use the structure of our either sales conversation or recruiting conversation to help with building value. So the best way to build value is to make sure that both of you understand what problems you're trying to solve. So people don't buy solution, or they don't buy products, they buy solutions to problems. When they understand the problems that they're trying to solve, the value increases. So we want to start conversations with what are some of your challenges in this area? What's hard for you? Things like that. The next question that is addressed by the structure of your conversation is a question like, if you were to solve this problem, how would your quality of life change? So let's say I'm in health and wellness, and someone says, well, one of my health goals is to lose 20 pounds. How will this improve the quality of your life? That's going to increase the value of solving this problem. Then your product just becomes logistics. I have a client who's in financial services. So it becomes, first, what's hard for you about wrangling your finances? And then second, how would wrangling your finances, right? Having a good life insurance policy, having investments, like how would that increase your overall quality of life? And what's going to happen is the customer is going to build the value higher and higher and higher. The higher the value, the less objections you'll get because the value will outweigh the cost. Another structure thing is, instead of telling people how great your product is, explain when they're going to use it. Have you ever had to run out the door and you're super hungry and then you get hangry and you yell at your kids and it's just not a good situation, or your only option is like chili cheese nachos at the baseball field and then you just feel gross and then that makes you angry at your kids, and no matter what, you're in a 30-minute fight with your kids? Here's a shake, right? So that's building value. Here's a shake, meal replacement shake that has great nutrients. It's ethically sourced, etc. So this will really help with that scenario. And they're like, oh yeah, that makes sense. So now I'm not buying a shake. I am trading money to avoid fights with my children and ruining our weekend. So it's totally different paradigm. Another way to handle objections to structures, the affordability, is make sure you have two options at the end. One that address the same problems, but one that is more affordable than another. And if they say, I can't afford it, have a couple of backup options, like options C and D, that are in this like no-brainer range. Now, not all product lines are going to be able to do that, but if you can do that, do it. For example, right, if someone isn't able to do like our year-long training or one of our masterminds, maybe we'll come in a little bit later with a $27 workshop or something that's going to feel more comfortable. Another structural thing that helps with handling objections before it comes up is offering a fast action bonus. Just a little bit of a reason to move forward. Okay, the second structural way to handle objections is to sprinkle in testimonials throughout. And here's what we need to do. The first thing we need to do is write down all the reasons people do not move forward. I think about it, talk to my husband, can't afford it, I could buy it on Amazon, etc. That's all like on the product side. For maybe some of the services like travel or financial services, I don't have time, money, it feels overwhelming. I feel like I'm gonna have to like just go through the super stressful thing. I don't know where everything is. I don't have the resources to do those things. I'm already feeling tight on finances. For the business, it might be, I don't want to, did you guys know, I read the stat yesterday, 39% of people are quit network marketing because they don't want to be awkward with friends and family. If we could give them an approach that would either not be awkward or resources on how to make connections outside of their friends and family, we could avoid 39% of people leaving our teams. So we have, I don't want to be awkward with friends and family. I don't know how to sell. I don't have a lot of time, et cetera, right? And so we want to address these in structure. So we want to actually bring them up before they come up. So for example, in the recruiting conversation template in Customer First Sales Mastermind, we have a line in there that says, you do one-on-ones or events, kind of like the one I did with you. Did you feel comfortable with the way I talked to you? And they'll say yes. I'll say, well, I just want to let you know, we never believe in being high pressure, pushy, or spammy, but I'm sure you could probably tell just by the way you and I have interacted. And they go, yeah. And so that pre-handles an objection through structure. But another way to do it is to sprinkle testimonials through. So make the list of all the objections, and then think about people in your business that overcame that objection or concern and move forward and was successful. So, for example, maybe it's something like, I can't afford it. And so at the end, you have a couple of options. You have do option A, option B. Neither of those, they feel like they can't afford it. And then we can show them option C or D, but then we can show them a testimonial. It says, we have this option, option C or option D. And I think this might be good. And here's a little testimonial by one of our clients who, had a similar conversation, concern for you. And maybe the testimonial says, oh my gosh, I love my blah, 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 like one single product. I really love the products, but I really felt like I just could not afford it with this and this and this and this coming up. I'm so happy that I ended up getting this one thing. I love it. And now I'm adding to my collection a little bit at a time. That's going to be using a testimonial to pre-handle an objection before it comes up. The objection being in that situation of, if I'm not going to get the kit, I'm not going to get anything. So we can use testimonials in the before. Now in the after section, I have a whole thing on this. But if they give you a concern, the most important thing for you to do is not respond directly, but first seek to understand. So there's a great quote by Stephen Covey: seek to understand before seeking to be understood. Most of the time we want to answer them defensively, but instead we need to understand. Tell me more. What are you worried about? Then we want to make sure we summarize. Let me make sure I understand. This is what you're worried about. Then we can say, if we found a solution around that, would that be helpful? If they say yes, proceed. If they say no, then we need to either go backwards, or maybe they're not at all open to a solution. If they're not open to a solution, don't give one. No one likes unsolicited advice. They say, yes, I'm open to a solution. You present your solution. You say, how does that feel? Or how does that sound? Or what do you feel is the best next step? Those structures will help you to overcome objections, or the way I like to call it, address concerns, while really feeling aligned with your values of being authentic, about being genuine, about not being pushy, but going through all the way, right? Sometimes you'll have people that you talk to and you figure out their concerns and you understand them, and you might realize, gosh, maybe we need to go a different direction, or maybe it's not the right time. I think we have to be open for that. But sometimes just by understanding their concern, having handled them or addressed them in advance before they even come up, really just allows us to have meaningful conversations, full of trust and compassion, and remembering that our goal is to matchmake the solutions with a problem. And if we can do that, then we can really, really be helpful. And learning how to address concerns in that way is great for everybody. It's great for your business. It's great for their lives. And that's what we're looking for. We're always looking to create win-win scenarios. So I hope that this explanation was helpful for you. If you need additional resources on this, please, please, please let us know. We are here to help and help some people get some problems solved, and help you to make more money in your business. So let me know if you'd like more resources on this, and have an awesome day. Bye.